realized my mic was muted. Okay, jumping back in. Let's see if that fixed the problem. Okay, that feels better right off the bat. Okay, it still seems a little laggy, but not quite as bad as before. Let's keep going through a few more runs. It's possible with this character. We can test that once we finish this particular run. But that'd be really strange to have one character be something that affects the performance of the game. Alright, go for the tears. Going into the boss fight after this, we have one more chance to get the treasure that we need. And I'm curious to see, it's a retroactive bonus 80%. I think it would get all the attributes that I've got at least to 14 for Protective Star 1. Let's see if that is actually true. Almost to 14 on Slay and Wind. But now we check our damage against the Wraith. This will be a good indication of how our build is progressing. It's pretty good shield damage. I think we're going to get just under 50%, not quite one bar. That's decent. Hey, Dee Dee's here. Dee Dee says, I'm back. Just got in when you had to go off for a few minutes. How's it going? Oh, good. I'm trying to figure out what's causing the game to drop in frame rate a little bit. I have a suspicion it might be this character, which would be weird since I've never had that problem since I've been playing it. But we'll see once we get through this run. How you doing, Dee Dee? Hope you had a good Christmas, if you celebrate Christmas. And we didn't get the one we want. Wow, 0 for 3. Oh well. I think we'll still be fine for this particular run. Ah, snow. That's right. Well, hopefully it doesn't cause too much of an inconvenience. I know up where you're at tends to get a lot of snow around this time of year. We usually get a decent amount of snow where I live too. It's just been strangely warm and rainy. Which is still annoying, but at least it's not snowing. Okay, Protective Star 1 on Slay Element. Oh, I can check the graphics settings. I haven't changed anything, so I can't imagine those will be any different than the last time we played this. Oh, the ads are up? Alright. Good old ads. Okay, Sophie. That's good. Fire and bolt. Alright. Ads are done. I should be gone for a little bit. I can't remember, Dee Dee. Have you been here when I've been streaming this game before? I know last time I was kind of explaining the setup and the premise to chat for some folks who had never seen me stream Abyss before. If not, and you want me to kind of explain how this game works, then let me know. Okay, alright. Well, we have a minute here, so I will explain. So this is Warriors Abyss. This is technically like a spin-off of the Musou series. So your Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, Warriors Orochi. Yeah, it includes cast members from all of those games, but it is set up like a rogue light. Think Hades, Vampire Survivors, or games like that where you go into a run with a character and you work on building said character based around their skill set. And the point is to get through 4 zones, 8 floors each, 7 in a boss, and then 1 final boss at the end. You want to get all the way to the bottom, beat the boss, and you get some permanent currency that you use to upgrade the different cast members. And there's 122? 100 something characters from all of the different games, and they've been constantly adding more and sort of adding more modes. So it's definitely chaotic in that when you're fighting through waves of enemies, there's a lot going on screen, and then you get to the bosses and you have to sort of tweak your strategies based on how the bosses behave. But what I like is the kind of diversity in builds for the different characters. This particular character was added in the recent update, and I haven't played with him yet, so we're taking him on a test run here. But he's very strong. You can see he doesn't have any permanent upgrades other than a weapon and what's called Transcendence. But as you upgrade the cast and you take on higher difficulties, you get different rewards and you unlock different things. So without getting too much in the weeds on what that means, in the upper right where it says Traversal Level 5, you could think of that as essentially difficulty level 5. There's 6 total levels of difficulty and a 7th hidden one. And so right now we're in the 4th zone, 2nd floor, getting close to the end of the run. But we're trying to build around elemental boosts for this particular character due to his skills. Didi says, oh wow, I love the Warriors games, even though games get a bum rap sometimes. Yeah, I've played more of the Samurai Warriors games than Dynasty Warriors, but I've always enjoyed them. They could be a little bit simple in their gameplay and design, but what I like about this one is they basically have all the characters' movesets, but the way this game plays is much different than those Warriors games. You can't jump, instead you have a quick dodge, which looks like that. It's a quick lunge. And the whole point is clearing waves of enemies in order to work on how your build sort of evolves. And I'll explain what that means once we clear this floor. And what the interface looks like, since there's a lot going on screen when I'm fighting things, but there is a lot on the HUD itself. And so when you clear a floor, you get these crystal saplings here. And when you interact with it, this menu here that you've seen me go through a couple times, these are characters that we can recruit into our army, as it were. And the characters themselves have emblems that you see at the bottom. So like Yue Jin has what looks like a kind of like a slash, that's skill, and the boot, which is speed. Kotaro has speed, and that purple one is slay, which is like kind of like a death element. When you recruit these characters and you get the emblems added to your totals, each of the emblem types tweaks your stats for the run. These aren't perma upgrades, these affect your character for that run. So like the fist, vigor, effects, attack parameters, attack range, and as you go up in the total amount of emblems you have, the numbers on the right show you at what level they unlock and then what they do. And so depending on your character's base skills, I'll show here for Zuo Ci, the number 1 and number 2 skills correspond to the character at the top for number 1, and then their weapon, which you can unlock for them using the permanent currency. And so depending on what their skills boost once they're unlocked determines which of these emblems you're going to target in the run. You might be building for a single element, you might be building for skill, which is attack damage to enemy barriers and attack speed, or you might be pushing speed, which isn't have any offensive power, but it lets you dodge a bit more. And so we'll take Nene here. Once you start recruiting characters, the slots you see at the bottom underneath the flashing gold bar, that is your squad. If we go to the banner of the king here, we can slot in all the characters we've recruited in the army, which you see on the left here, into different slots in the squad. And the characters themselves give bonuses and boosts, which is explained in the right panel, when they're slotted into the 6 spots on your team. Some of them do things like boost certain elements, or boost different parameters of the different attributes. And you basically fill your team out by putting in teammates here that boost your overall effectiveness. And then the formation, which is that kind of wave looking thing. Each of the formations that you can unlock in the run boost different things depending on how you're building. So you recruit the characters, you get formations, and you choose how you're going to build your squad out. And so the 6 characters you see under the gold bar are the complete members of the squad right now, and are giving me different effects. What you've been seeing as I've been fighting through the floors, the attack combos, which go on square and triangle for PS5 controls, whenever you end a combo with triangle, it summons the hero in that slot. So if I go 1 square and 1 triangle, summon slot 1. 2 squares and triangle, summon slot 2, and so on. The different characters, when they pop out, have different types of attacks that are fit into several different classifications. And so as you're going, and then they go on cooldown, which is what that countdown is, as you go through, you figure out, okay, which characters are going to be good to summon and do more damage, but also synergize with the different skills they have and the skills your player character has. And so that's right, different characters for different runs, since it's a random roll on the saplings each time. When you go to the next floor, you can see what saplings are going to come up. So the little stars is charm. That's an emblem type that boosts your teammates and summons. Skill, this is the one that boosts attack speed and barrier damage. We know that the sapling is going to have heroes that contain that emblem at the very least on the next floor. So we're going to take skill. And so it kind of informs what you're going to target as you go through the runs, and it'll always give you a choice of at least 2 different trees. You also get these random events that pop up throughout the run. You make these choices that give you boosts or some sort of buff for the run itself for a certain amount of time, and they just pop up randomly. And so for each floor on the base mode that we're playing here, the goal in order to clear it is the enemy count in the upper left. So we have to take out 1,000 enemies in that run in order to clear it and go on to the next. And by clearing the floor, that's when we get to choose from the saplings what we're going to do with different heroes. Okay, and then we can get free upgrades randomly on the run for each floor sometimes, which will let us choose an emblem just kind of again for free. Let's go win 14. That gets us another orb orbiting around our character. They're kind of tough to see when everything's going off on screen, but the little elemental orbs spin around, they do damage. So they stack on DPS just by touching enemies when you're running around. Didi says, I remember when defeating 1,000 enemies was difficult. Yeah, now with the way this game is set up, that's pretty easily attainable number. And some of the other modes, that number goes up. So you have to focus on how many enemies to take out. Okay, let's see. We'll take Ina. Gets us up to skill 10. If we can get to skill 14, gives us a pretty useful skill or ability that's unlocked. Now on the cauldron floors, which have a random chance to show up in addition to the saplings, you don't fight any enemies, but you have what's called the King's Cauldron. In the lower right, where under my emblem totals, which I am blocking. Give me one sec. I explained this last time, I didn't bother to move my model. So in the lower right, it shows my totals for all the emblems I've obtained on this run. The blue currency is the little blue flame. That is your perma unlock currency, which are the embers, karma embers. Those get paid out at the end of the run, and you use that to buy things, which I'll explain once we finish the run. The other currency to the right kind of looks like a bag of red crystals. It says 32,000. That is Tears of Blood, a currency you only obtain on the run, and then you don't keep it when the run finishes. That currency allows you to spend it at these cauldrons, which rolls a set of heroes you can choose from and just buy outright to recruit, but also includes the formations, which, as you go down through the different floors, the formations get more and more powerful and more expensive. And so I think we want to go for something that confers damage, and I think we'll go Wind, the Azure Dragon. So this formation is laid out a little different than the other ones, but it gives a 7% attack bonus on our player character for every wind emblem we've got, which is pretty decent. And I have a decent number. I think we can buy all of them, but we'll get the elemental ones first. We have Toshiie, we have Hideyoshi, we have Shimayi. And you can't equip different formations at the same time. It's only one. Kind of wish you could sell the ones you're not using. But now if we go here, you can select the dragon formation, and we can have the computer select the most optimal characters. That dude that keeps popping up is kind of like your main guiding narrative character. His name's Enma, the King of Hell. The premise of Warriors Abyss is that you get summoned as a soul to help him out in Hell because there's a really powerful demon that's causing problems, and he's recruiting all these well-known heroes from the different lores and cultures to help him take that thing out. And so you see him chime in every once in a while, and he's got a little bit of dialogue here or there, but he's kind of like your plot device. Target's still 1,000. That's not going to change for the remainder of this zone. We got one more floor and then we hit the boss. Okay, the saplings that don't have an emblem mean it's just rolling from the entire pool of characters, not restricted to a specific attribute type. We're really close to 14 on skill. So we'll take Saika. That gets us to 13. We just need one more. Which, if we go to this floor, the book is Wisdom, which is an attribute that boosts Muso, or kind of super move. But if we go to the Cauldron, there's a chance we can pull one more skill character. It's a bit of a gamble, but we've got 13k in tiers. Decent odds. Nice, okay. Here's Yukimura. This gets us to skill 14, which applies the elemental attributes to all attacks. That's pretty useful for how we're building this character. And now we go straight to the boss of Zone 4. First boss is Bloodthirsty Warrior, who's kind of like a doppelganger for Lubu. Similar moveset, high damage. For the bosses, the white bar is their shield. So I mentioned shield breaking abilities. we want to do as much damage to that to put the bosses into a stagger state. And then if I use Assemble, which throws all of my 6 squad mates out at once to stack up damage, this is where we do actual HP damage to the boss. They're kind of in that stagger state for maybe 10 or 15 seconds, and then they recover. And then you gotta break the shield again. Yeah, Lu Bu is very strong in this game, like he is in all the others. But we just focus on melting the shield, and then throw out our summons. Got him. This floor has 2 bosses. The second one is the Veteran Warrior, who's like a doppelganger for Honda Tadakatsu, who's actually in my slot 1 right now. He's kind of sort of like the Samurai Warriors equivalent of Lu Bu. Its allegiance is different, but he's a very strong spear wielding character. And so this boss has a different move set. Still dangerous, uses a bit more projectiles, but if we just keep damage on the shield, and we're just shy. Okay. Should be able to break it here, and then take out the last little sliver of health. And that's it for floor 4. Alright, looking at our attribute list here, the breakpoint we want for all the elements is 14. That's why for ice, wind, and slay, there's 3 orbs. If we get to 18, then there's 2 orbs and it becomes this spinning barrier of elemental damage. But I don't think we're going to get to 14. We'll see. Before we go into the final boss, we have another cauldron of characters we can choose. So we'll just see what we can afford. We could take Ginchio. Could take Simashi. And I guess we can take Guan Yu. We need 1 more bolt. We're just 1 shy. If we had gotten the 1 treasure I mentioned earlier, which you get after beating the first 3 bosses, 3 different chances, if I'd gotten the one I needed for this particular character, then we would have probably maxed out, because it gives a massive boost to the total number of elemental emblems he gets. But we rolled unluckily. And even still, this run has been pretty easy for an unupgraded character on difficulty level 5. And so this is the final boss. This is Goma, the demon that we're recruited to take out. It's kind of a big, blobbish creature in his first form. Which is pretty manageable. We're doing very good damage just based on the element. 1 bar it. Now get the second form. Alright, this is Enma. Get a better shot of him. Here's true form Goma. A bit more projectile based and hits a bit harder than his first form. The elemental damage is kind of trivializing this fight. Normally you have to work a bit more. But I am seeing that this character is as busted as people have been saying, and I didn't get the treasure that unlocks his full abilities, and it's still this easy. So I think I'm going to use this guy to unlock a lot of stuff. I'll explain kind of the perma upgrade system once we get through this, but it shouldn't take too much longer. that. This large, sweeping like beam. That will do a lot of damage. Just like the other games, like Hades, if we run out of life and die, then that's it for the run. So you can't be careless, even though this character is pretty strong offensively. But took out Form 2 pretty easily. Okay, we can skip the credits. So here's our wrap-up screen for this particular run. It took a little less than an hour because I was going a bit slower explaining stuff. The total battle power is sort of like your baseline for how well your team synergizes. It doesn't necessarily translate directly to I'm doing X amount of damage more, but it tells you basically how well your squad is functioning. 6.2 million is pretty decent. I've seen that get much higher when you really dial in a build. On the left, we have the wrap-up of our character stats. The total level you can get to in the run is 50, and then it resets when you start over with a character in a new run. So we ended at level 38 with 288 health, 4,430 attack, 204 speed, and 792 defense. 4430 is pretty high for an unupgraded character, and I think that is primarily driven by all the element. Under heroes acquired, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shows us who was slotted into our team in the 6 spots, and then all the other icons is everybody else we recruited. The treasures are the things that we draw after the end of the bosses for the first 3 zones. That's what I was talking about where I said we didn't roll the one we needed to make this guy stupid crazy powerful. And assemble damage is how much damage we did when we had all the characters on screen throughout the run. The Karma Embers I mentioned earlier, the blue flame currency. For this run we got 37,000, which isn't bad. Okay, we won't save that record. And so to explain what the permanent unlock system looks like, here on the tree in the Hall of Bonded Souls, this is all of the player characters you can unlock in Warriors Abyss across the Dynasty Warriors games, Samurai Warriors games. There are some guest characters from Ninja Gaiden, like Hayabusa, and some characters from the Atelier Ryza game, which I don't know too much about, but where is she? That's Sophie. Yumiya down here. Where's Ryza? In the middle? Yeah, she's in the middle. And so yeah, there's a lot of characters to unlock when you initially start this game. And then once you unlock the characters, you can either find on runs just randomly their unique weapon. So for Wang Yi here, hers is Illusion Piercer. You can buy it outright with the blue flame, the Karma Ember currency. Once you buy that weapon, then the slot 2 skills populate. If you go to someone who doesn't have a weapon unlocked, like Okuni, you can see that her weapon's called Myriad of Colors, but she doesn't get any skills because she doesn't have it unlocked. I could pay 50,000 and unlock it outright. Been doing that for a lot of the cast, but then we get that ability. If we go to a character that, let's see, who doesn't have Transcendence? It's a good majority of the cast. Oh, we can do it here. So like for Zuo Ci, who we just played through, if I pay 80,000, we get what's called Transcendence. And Transcendence boosts the character's abilities, base ability in slot 1, the weapon abilities in slot 2, and usually overall stat parameters. So it's like an additional bonus to their stats and abilities, and that costs a bit more. And so there's 2 tiers of unlocks essentially. There's the weapon, Then there's Transcendence for each of the characters. And then if you look under the little plate under his portrait, that has his base stats. So when you start a run, he starts with the health, strength, defense, and speed you see there. But cumulative level is something that is also part of the permanent meta progression. So when you go take the characters out on the different modes, whatever level they ended the run at, depending on what difficulty it was, usually gets a multiplier, and then that goes into what's called cumulative level. Cumulative level at every 50, as you build up that level total through using the characters, gives them permanent upgrades to their stats. And so like if we want to boost him to 100, which is the next breakpoint, then at level 100 he gets a permanent 19 in attack and 31 defense, and that goes up to 750. Didi says that seems so much easier. I remember some of the ultimate weapons for characters were ridiculous to get. Yeah, so it comes down to luck on runs, or if you just do enough runs to get the currency, you just unlock them immediately and then go into the next tier if you want. Or if you find a character you really like, you could dump a bunch of cumulative levels, get them to 750 with a huge stat boost, and then take them out on runs. And so yeah, like these other tiles here are additional unlocks, like the formations. You don't start with them all unlocked. You unlock them on the tree here as well. And then there's different passives for the overall abilities, like more rerolls. You can reroll at saplings. I didn't really do that for the last run, but you can reroll in case you want to get different characters to recruit. The way the tree works is each character, when you unlock them, gives you a permanent percentage boost to the overall stats. So that's why you see life 120, strength 73%, defense 121. That just tallies as you unlock the different characters. Didi says it does seem like a slow burn to get something good or just some great luck. Yeah, and depending on what difficulty you're playing on and a couple other factors, usually you're getting several tens of thousands of the Karma Embers per run. And that's usually enough to get close to buying an upgrade. If you just run through the different modes a few times, like it didn't take me too long to unlock all of this, but I'd also played through the game before on Switch before I started on PC again. The red aura around the weapon, that denotes transcendence. So every character I've transcended so far has that there. Ultimately, the goal is to have all the weapons unlocked and everyone transcended, and then maybe down the road everybody maxed out in cumulative level, but that's a lot of grinding. I'd rather have their abilities maxed out first before their stats. And so in addition to the base mode, which you're just playing, which we can take, let me test something real quick. I'm still wondering why the game is not running as well as it normally is. First, let's check the options. Normally this game runs super smooth at 60. Okay, resolution's fine, full screen. Nope, none of the settings have changed. Let me see if I can drop a couple of these down. Well, when we streamed this last time, all the stuff was what you see here. And there was no issues with frame rate. But for some reason today, the game is not running as well as it normally does. Let's see. I wanted to see if it was that character I was playing. This guy's new. So let's just take someone else out, start a run, and see if the slowdown is still happening. It shouldn't. I've never had that problem. And I've put a lot of hours into this game. But we'll just test it real quick. I want to show off some of the other modes as we try and unlock stuff. A little bit tough to tell. The earlier floors don't have the density of enemies as the other ones. But I did notice, just on the character's movement speed, it was stuttering a bit. Let's cancel that one. I think just for the stream, I'm going to drop the FPS on my model. We'll drop it down to 30. Shouldn't be too noticeable on the model itself, but let's see if this helps performance a bit. DD says, yeah, that sounds like a lot of grinding. It is, but because the character roster is so big, the sort of flexibility to experiment around with trying different builds and whatnot definitely makes it so that the runs don't feel super repetitive as you're going through multiple times. Okay, this is the training hall. So under this mode, you take a character into a series of runs. The floor progression is the same, but there's specific parameters that are in effect for just that run. So we could do Brave General. It doesn't really matter since our character is being built around Elemental. But let's take Zuo Ci in again. DD says, I had to do that with some of the PC games I stream, lowering the quality or frame rate of my model. Yeah, I've had to do that on a couple, but it's usually for games that have a higher system load, like Monster Hunter Wilds. This game doesn't really tax the system that much, and it's always run very smoothly, so I'm a little bit concerned that it's having issues today, but let's see if dropping the FPS on my model helps a bit. Hope my GPU's not having issues. That would be very bad. Especially in today's market. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing as before. We're gonna build around Element and see if we roll the crazy treasure and the bosses as we go. And so I should be able to do this a little bit faster. Okay, we'll take Wei Yan. Double Slay's good. Yeah, I don't know if it's a specific GPU issue yet, since, again, today's the first day I've noticed anything weird with the performance in this game. I'll have to go and test it with Monster Hunter Wilds at some point. Not with my model, but just with the game itself. Because, yeah, you're right. If I have to go get a new GPU with all of the market shenanigans going on now, it's going to be very rough. But this GPU's not that old, so I think I've had it for like a year and a half. It shouldn't be having issues. Okay, keep focusing on elemental damage. Floor clear target here, less than 100. Pretty easy. Okay, we'll take speed. Level 1 speed gets us an invulnerable evade, which is pretty important. That move, in case I didn't mention it before, that's Zuo Ci's Muso. That's what the yellow bar under my life on the left side, that's the Muso meter. Each of the characters has their own super moves. If you've played the other Muso games, you know what that is. And some characters you can build around Muso spam, which is really fun. He says a dodge roll I must have. Yeah, not quite a dodge roll. It's more like a dodge dash. But you don't get the iframes until you start unlocking things in the speed stat tree. And then as you go, you start getting like multiple evades. The cooldown gets reduced. If you want to build a character that can zip around the screen, you can definitely do that by pushing speed. But we're going for damage. Pure offense with this character. Performance seems okay. I'm not noticing a massive night and day difference by dropping my FPS in my model. But as long as it's not chugging down to super low frame rate. The reason I stopped playing this game on Switch, even though it's a perfect game to take on the go, is when crazy stuff starts happening in the later difficulties, the Switch just dies. I've heard you can get locked 30 on the Switch 2, but on the Switch 1, the later difficulty modes, it becomes soup, and everything just slows down to slow motion. And that's why we're playing it on PC for the foreseeable future. This is the first boss. This is the Onigashira. He's not too tough. Yeah, I would say for a good 70% of the early game, it runs fine on Switch. It's just the later difficulties get a lot more full of enemies and whatnot, and then the game suffers considerably by the Switch's hardware. Alright, so these are the treasures. We have 3 choices. We can't re-roll these. We want the Book of the Art of Concealment, and we did not draw it here, so that's strike 1. But we can get Matsukaze. That's Tadakatsu's horse. Shortens summoning cooldown for slots 1, 3, and 5 by 50%. If you're building a summon spam run, that's a pretty useful one to have. You can make it so that the cooldown is essentially nothing for your 6 teammates, and you can just pull them out on the field constantly, which also results in a lot of things going on screen. I didn't do that. Ooh, Hayabusa. Prior to Zuo Ci getting out of the game, I think Hayabusa was the most busted. He has an ability that gets him a boost to the number of speed and vigor emblems, I believe. So you could build this guy for crazy damage. He's very, very fast too. Fitting, you know, from Ninja Gaiden and all. But I think Zuo Ci is going to dethrone him for having the most insane skill set potential. I still need to play the older Ninja Gaiden games. I know 4 came out earlier this year, and I heard it was really good. But the last one I played was 2 on the Vita, I think. I know they remastered Sigma. 2 black and 3 is Sigma, I believe. But I need to play those games. Get kind of the story going to 4. I know the old NES games more than the slightly newer ones, but the newer ones were always kind of hailed as being pretty difficult. Oh man, look at the frame rate go. The game should not be running like that. DD says, that's more than me. I just played the original NES ones. Yeah, I've played and beaten. Well, I haven't beaten the third one without using save states, but the first and the second one I know fairly well on NES. The first one's one of my favorite games from the NES library. It holds up really well, and it's merciless. Okay, let's boost up wind. 3 was the hardest for sure on the NES because it had limited continues. DB says, I still to this day haven't officially beaten Ninja Gaiden 1. So there is a trick, not a cheat or an exploit, but there's a trick to getting through the entirety of the game up to the final boss. And it has to do with getting the spiral slash. I might have played that one on stream a long time ago. I can't remember. But the spiral slash, if you get it as you're making your way up in the final level, it just destroys every single boss. And the game makes you do 3 of them in a row, and then if you die, it sends you back to the bottom of the tower. You gotta get up there again. If you do that and just get the spiral slash each time, and if you fail, get it on your repeated run as you beat each boss, it kills them almost instantly. It's insanely busted, such that they took it out of the future games in that form. The second to last boss, where you fight Jakio, the guy that flies around screen and shoots fireballs at you, that's really tough. If you do that fight without the spiral slash, you have to be very precise in how you dodge. But if you have that weapon, you just go right up next to him and just buzzsaw him to death. Okay, keep trucking. Couple more floors and boss 2. I still have having frame rate issues. I may have to test this game on my laptop and see. Or I can test it without running my model. I think that's part of the problem. Even though, again, for today, I've been running my model at 60 and had no issues with how the game runs. Fortunately, the new game we're going to start Sunday is not really system intensive at all. If that game has performance issues, then something might be up with my GPU. I should probably explain the missions. Every sapling I go into the floor that has a little chest icon gets you another mission after you clear the base goal of the floor, and then that's where these treasure chests come from. These have tears of blood or embers, or sometimes, if you're really lucky, weapons. This is how you can get them randomly on runs. It's kind of rare, but it is a way to unlock things. Get one more. Hit boss 2. Yeah, we'll see if I can get the streamer luck. I think we didn't get any unlocks in the last one. That's okay. This mission, I'm going to take out the One-Eye Ogre, which is a smaller version of the boss. All the different bosses can spawn throughout the run as just regular, stronger enemies. Same principle. Break the shield. Get summons on the board to do actual damage. Chip their life down. No element. Okay, we'll re-roll. If we hit triangle on this page, you can see the 18. That's our number of re-rolls. It'll re-roll characters that are either under the sapling type, or if it's no type, then the entire roster that you can unlock. Oh, we got a crystal bead at some point. That currency lets us get an additional roll on a sapling, which is nice. It's another character to recruit. We'll save the one we got for a specific element type down the road. Alright, here's the boss of Zone 2, the Magadori. Bird. This one's a bit faster than the Oni. It has a lot of projectile-based attacks that hit around and in different directions. Not too bad if you just keep the pressure on. And that's a lot of damage. Cool. Cooked. Now, are we gonna get the roll on the treasure we need? Nope. Strike 2. And none of these are really that good, but I guess we'll take Agar Wood. That does boost the number of Karma Embers we get on the run, which is better than nothing. So we have one more chance at the bottom of Zone 3 to get the treasure we need. Yeah, 0 for 2, kind of rough, but it's not going to really affect our ability to beat the run. Not careful. I spoke too soon, but we'll be fine for the run itself. I just want to see, like, the maxed out element. Some people on Reddit, after this character got added, were shown shots of their build where they just had this massive rainbow barrier of death spinning around and just destroying the 7th hidden difficulty. If I can use this guy to farm difficulty 6, that would be awesome. We're on 5 again. The gold saplings, which are rare, they're more rare, have a chance to give you a hero that fits into your build or boosts your abilities more so than just the regular random ones. Okay, we'll use our chance here. Just keep stacking on element. And we have our highest is bolt this time. So if we can get a formation that boosts bolt damage. Well, no, we didn't have that. I guess we can take ice. And we'll buy a couple. moving on. Okay, this one's pretty good. We can get another crystal bead at the cost of 5% max health reduction. That's a good trade. Losing overall life isn't useful, but 5% is kind of nothing. Just have to focus on not getting hit. No element? That works. People on Reddit for this game were saying that there's potentially DLC for kind of an expansion or something coming out soon, which hasn't been announced, but that would be awesome. Up until somewhat recently, the devs for Abyss were releasing kind of monthly additional characters and sometimes new game modes. So they've been actively building out the content in this game pretty consistently over the last year or so since it's been out. And this update just came out a week or so ago. Oh, and we have a small Raku redeemed from Lava King. What's up, Lava? Welcome to the stream. Here, I'm going to stand right here on the edge of the screen. See how long it takes for me to remember to turn it off. Oh, this is too much, shall you? I'm going to be targeting anybody that boosts elemental for this run. And here's your favorite guy, Ma Chao. It's your boy. No, we'll save that for an elemental floor like the fire one. Yeah, I know he's... I forgot to change my formation too. Whoops. I know you don't like him, but I need his abilities. Yeah, that's right, Dee. Because they're using characters from the existing games, they just have to be kind of retrofitted into Abyss's engine with their movesets and whatnot. So I foresee them adding a lot to it. If they do actual DLC, I'm hoping they give us new levels and more modes and new bosses. Oh, this is now also is right there. Yeah, I might get him later too. Again, I'm spreading elemental damage across all of them. Also, his name is not Lee. His last name is Ii. Both Naotora and Naomasa, their last name is Ii, not Lee. There's no L in Japanese. I'm going to correct that every time I see it because it drives me nuts. It's not an L, it's a capital I. Okay, we can use this here. Here, there he is right here. That's an I, not a lowercase L. Lowercase, if it was an actual L, it would have like the L shape. That's an I. But we will take now Masa because we could use the speed. And Lava says, hey Raku, would you do a let's play of Dynasty or Samurai Warriors? I don't know. I've played through a couple of Dynasty Warriors games and a lot of the Samurai Warriors games. But if they make another Warriors Orochi game, which is my favorite series, even though it's non-canon, I would consider doing a playthrough of that. Those games are fun. Two minutes left. Oh, the ads are back. Great. Ooh. Okay, we hit our first breakpoint for Bolt 14. That's good. We've got one more floor, and then we hit third floor boss. Our last chance to pull the treasure we need. Let's see if we can get to 14 on a couple of the other ones. We did 3 in the last run, and that ended up being really good. Plus, we're really close to 14 on skill. That should be pretty attainable in the last zone. Turn the timer off for a sec. Ads are done. Welcome back, everybody. Clear this floor and then I'll fix my model. There we go. Okay, getting ready to go into the boss 3. Maybe I can get lucky. I don't have Psycha yet, I don't think. Let's see, R3, available heroes. If I go into available heroes for that sapling, this will tell me everyone I have a chance to roll. Like if I re-roll, it's going to pull from this pool. And nope, I think I already have Psycha. Okay. Let's try and re-roll for someone with an element. Xing Sai is alright. We need to get more wind. We're only at 6. One more and we get 14 skill, which is what we want. But now, boss 3, which is kind of the DPS check. This particular boss has a higher health pool than the first 2. Tamahami the Wraith. Lava asks, would you do an Orochi Warriors 4 Let's Play? I don't know if I would because I've sunk a ton of time into that game on Switch. I think it was 4. And I kind of don't want to do it again. I did so much grinding and unlocking. That game I like a lot, but I spent so much time on it, I kind of don't want to start over. That's why I said if they do a new one, I'd probably jump in and stream that. Okay, DPS is good. Boss got melted. I never got into the Sengoku Basara series. I've heard it's pretty popular. Different from like your standard Warriors fare. Okay, last chance to pull the busted treasure. And it's the wrong book. We wanted the Book of the Art of Concealment. Well, we won't have a busted run. Oh well. Lava says, I love 4, but man, it feels like a chore sometimes. I feel like 3's system of unlocking and upgrades was a little bit better. But I spent more time on 4 just off and on. Yeah, that's pretty bad luck. 2 runs in a row, 0 for 3. Oh well. Velvet says what's crazy is this game is using designs from 2013 Dynasty Warriors 8. Yeah, people on the Reddit were talking about that too. One thing people thought would be really cool is if in future updates they port in the characters' movesets from other games since they kind of evolve over time. That's definitely possible. I would like to see the unique characters from the Zuo Ci series show up. I think it's on the list. I think the next major update's gonna have the main characters from Origins, which seems to be a bit more polarizing. Some people seem to really like it and other people don't. But some of the characters from that are going to be added to this with their own movesets. Okay, ice up to 11. Yeah, I did see the announcement for the remake of 3. I can't remember the last Dynasty Warriors I played, but it might have been 2. I played more of the Samurai Warriors games because I was studying Japanese history at the time. Okay, go wind. Yeah, Origins, I think one thing that kind of split people on Origins was that they changed a lot of how the game plays. It was kind of like when they did Strike Force. Kind of crazy, over-the-top, like Dragon Ball Z-ish Dynasty Warriors game, which I'm pretty sure is non-canon. That one I played very briefly. I don't think I owned it. I think I borrowed it from someone. It was very different, but pretty kind of fun and wacky and over the top. You said it stopped at Dynasty Warriors 5 Extreme Legends. I think Samurai Warriors 3 was the last one I played. Kind of fell off on the series a bit because I was no longer studying Japanese history. But I think those games are available on Steam. Can't remember. Picked up a bead. Wallace says Strike Force is nice, but it loses its appeal quickly. It did seem like it was a little bit gimmicky, but I give them props for trying something new. The Musou series has always been accused of just being kind of the same thing, but then when they try something different, a lot of times the community gets upset because it's different. So it's kind of like they can't win. That's why I like this game so much. It's got so much of the like core Musou gameplay, but the whole focus is very different. And you folks know I played a decent amount of roguelike type games on the channel. Oh, we can get 14. Ice 14, that's good. That's two orbs. Next one closest is fire. I guess we can try and get fire. There you go. Get Jurong. Yeah. That's true, DD. You kind of get into that catch-22 in a lot of series. But switching things up every once in a while I think is good, just to experiment. Like, I'm not of the opinion that I would dislike something because it's different. If I just disagree with the design philosophy and it's not for me, that's one thing. But I won't fault a developer for trying something new. Bob says, you've still yet to play Skull. Yeah, it's on my list. We're going to be trying something different on Sunday. We're going to be starting up a new long play for a new RPG that I didn't even know about until it was gifted to me. Well, that should be a pretty fun time. Oh man, frame rate. Okay, 14 on skill. That's good. Element applied to all attacks. Yeah, I think you folks are right in that you kind of need to balance your approach so that you're not going completely off the deep end when it comes to trying something new, but not staying completely safe, and that whatever you're doing just gets really stale. It's tough. I think the Pokemon series probably is one of the biggest offenders of that. Like, I know the recent game is, people said it's pretty good, and it does change up some things in the formula, but I was just reading on Twitter today someone going on a rant about how Nintendo and Game Freak just refuses to put voice acting in Pokemon for some reason. Very strange, and people have been asking for that for a long time. I still can't really get interested in Pokemon franchise entries now. I am more inclined to go back and resume the playthrough of Pokemon Infinite Fusion that we did over a year ago, since there's still like another half of the game that I haven't even gotten to, and they're adding another region somewhat soon. Lava says, I think Origins was nice, but being realistic and grounded doesn't mesh with Musou. Yeah, I think it'd probably hold back the nature of the series a little bit because the Musou games are so like over the top. Lava says your first mistake was going on Twitter. Yeah, I know. I just scroll through and read things. I do not engage with the discussion on Twitter. It's a fool's errand. Okay, we could take the health boost. I know the most about Gen 1, DD, because that was the first games I played back when they came out, because I'm very old. But I don't know. I kind of just observe what's going on with the Pokemon series. I just don't really feel compelled to get back into it. Now see, Lava, I can't really judge DD at all because I'm much older. So I'm not going to be throwing stones in the glass house. I was alive at a time before Pokemon as a brand existed. Okay, so we're coming close to the end of Zone 4. We could push and try and get to 18 on Vigor. We're really close. Yeah, I think I'll do that. At this point, I'm not worried about the run. I think we'll be fine. Ooh, 18. So we get level 2 protective star. So that's 2 orbs orbiting now, which is further than we got in the last run. That will definitely pile on bolt damage. Lava says, you're born in the 80s? You don't know what decade I was born in. And you'll never know. Get Yue Jin. He has skill but no element, so he wouldn't be priority for this particular run. Call Kyuchi. That's just silly. Yeah, wow. The game is chugging. This is kind of more on par with what the Switch was doing. I am a little bit annoyed about that. I'm going to have to look into that a bit further before I stream this game again, because last time we played this, which was like a week ago, didn't have any issues with frame rate suffering. Okay, so now we're at 15 fire, 14 ice, 9 wind, 18 bolts, 7 slay. If we had that treasure, I think we'd be pretty close to 18 on everything. Ooh, we can get this. Then that's one more for maxed out vigor. Not really key and critical to this particular build, but getting the shockwaves on regular attacks would just up our damage quite a bit. What we can do after this to kind of switch things up, we'll take this save file for Zuo Ci when we get to the end, and we'll go into one of the other modes, since I know Lava's seen the other modes, but DD has not. So we'll talk about some of the other gameplay modes and how they work. Ooh, okay, this gets us to 18. 18 vigor, we get elemental shockwaves on our normal attacks. And it's applying every element to those even though they're yellow, which is pretty strong. Yeah, I'll explain what the other modes are when we do that, since we've just been playing the regular one. But first, we got to go into the boss of floor 4. Zone 4, rather. Okay, Bloodthirsty Warrior. Good old Lewis Boo. Ooh, maybe not get hit by the big sweeping obvious attack. We're gonna one bar it. We're gonna one bar it. That's insane damage. Pretty sure we've outpaced our last run for overall DPS, which is nuts. And we're only on T5. Oh, we're gonna one bar it without even using the symbol? Wow. That's bananas. Let's look at the RBG Wheel of Death. That is something that's pretty much impossible to do with the rest of the cast. But Zuo Ci is kinda busted. Okay, this gets us Protective Star 2, which is good. But first, let's look at the formations. Our highest element is Bolt, so we want something that increases Bolt. There's none in the rotation, so I guess we'll take Flame instead. Dee Dee says, I don't mind taking a hit in damage if my DPS is crazy. Yeah, you do have to be a little bit careful, because some of the higher difficulty enemy attacks can melt you quickly. But in general, as long as you're keeping the damage up, you'll be okay. Okay, so we'll get Fire up to 18. And we'll get Slay up to 10. This is Eugene. This is who Lava was talking about further up in the chat. Eugene. I guess we can use the speed. Where are we at with speed? If we get up to 10, we get a cooldown reduction. That's pretty good. Might as well. After we beat Goma, our Tears of Blood can't be cashed in anymore. The cauldrons won't spawn in the other modes. So, might as well spend them if you got them. Now let's see if we can do this faster than the last run. Look at that. One bar in Form 1. Yep. We didn't even need to use a symbol. Form 2. Oh, come on. Okay, there goes shield. I think we got a one bar in Form 2. Gone. Wow, it says y'all have a good holiday. Alright, dude, if you're taking off, thanks for stopping by and hanging out. If I don't get a chance to tell you before, have a good, happy New Year. Yeah, take care of yourself, and I'll catch you later. Okay. So let's see what our time to complete this particular run on T5 was. It's got to be less than 51 minutes. I think we did that faster. Yeah. 44 minutes. About the same battle power, 6.3. We end up at 39. Our overall damage, attack damage, 57. It's almost 6k. It's pretty substantial. Okay, this was a pretty decent run. Didn't get the treasure we needed though. Otherwise it'd be even more crazy. But what we'll do is Oh, for this training mode that we did, Brave General Training, we get a bunch of embers. This is tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, and tier 5 we get a Record of Sin, which I will explain here. Oh, we can't take the I can't take that save clear into the other modes. That's right. We have to beat it on regular. Okay. Let's see. I wanted to take that specific character into the void here, but let me explain what it is, and let's try something a little bit ambitious. We're gonna try a T6 clear, but first, let me explain what void is. So you unlock void and depths after you've beaten the game. Void allows you to take a clear file that you save after you beat a normal mode run with a character, with all of their gear, stats, unlocks, recruits, all that. You save it here, and then you take this data and you go into this mode where you're essentially fighting through the same series of floors, only they're randomized, but you're on a timer. So you have 15 minutes to get as far down as possible. And the farther down you get, the better rewards you get. If we go here, oh, got to 150. The little book to the left, which I haven't really explained, next to the portrait, that's what's called a Record of Sin. These are unlocked in the bonus modes. These normally aren't unlocked in the regular mode. You can get them in the training for clearing them for the first time, or you get these in a random pool when you beat either Void or Depths. These are equipable passive boosts, essentially. So for like this one, rank 4, Record of Sin Bolt. When you have this equipped on a run, it makes it more likely for Bolt emblem characters to appear. And other ones boost your stats. Like, where's the one I'm actively using? This one, also rank 4 out of 5, is the highest. Record of Sin Vigor. Every Vigor emblem, the fist, that you have boosts attack by 1%. And so you do the other modes in order to unlock these permanent passives that you can switch in and out on different runs. And they all do different things. I haven't seen even a fraction of the different roles. They give us a flat stat bonus, which is in effects, and then the specific one to the item varies depending on the role. And the higher tier clear file you take in there, the better the rewards. It's like a multiplier that's built in. So let's see if there's something that boosts elemental damage. Any element would be better for Zuo Ci. Strengthens the effect of treasure. That's interesting. Some of these increase attack by 5% for every 2200 tears of blood on a run. The max of 50%. Here we go. This is one we can use. Increases attack by 2% for every ice emblem. And so we're going to take that same character. I'm kind of just focusing on this one dude today, but that's all right. We're going to take him into T6. This is the highest of the regular modes. There's just a hidden 7th one. But you start with regular, and then you go into traversal level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each additional tier of difficulty, it adds debuffs to the run. It makes enemies stronger, reduces the amount of, or increases the amount of tiers you have to pay at the cauldrons in order to get the upgrades. And from 5 on, it adds 2 of those bosses on floor 4, zone 4, floor 8. So for 6, you have to deal with all that. In addition to your health will not replenish when you level up. If you have an invulnerability barrier, which we haven't really used at all in the run so far, enemy attacks will pierce it, so there's no invulnerability. And there's special barriers on the bosses now that are more resistant to summoning damage. And then if we go, if we go to this one by hitting down 5 times, when it turns red, that's the secret level 7, which is, I haven't really attempted yet, but There's no additional benefit for doing that, but it's even harder. So eventually we want to get to the point where we can run through that effectively because it gets you a different icon clear for the characters. But we're going to go for the base tier 6. And we're going to see how Mr. Mystic does here. Same strategy. But now we got to be careful. Things hit harder on this mode in general. If we can pull his unique treasure, then that would put us in a good position to be able to beat this run. And keeping in mind that our Record of Sin boosts ice. So normally we want to prioritize getting ice as high as possible. There we go. That's 2% for every ice emblem we get. He says the Iceman cometh. That's right. Insert your Arnold one-liners from Batman and Robin here. Okay, we should grab 1 speed when possible for invulnerable evade. Oh, okay, we got to keep an eye out for these. Thorns of Fixation. These are a special spawn in tier 6 that we have to go and do in order to get to the final form, true final form of the boss. There are 3. I believe they show up once per zone, zones 1, 2, and 3. Oh, come on, frame rate. Wow, I don't know why it's going in slow motion all of a sudden. But this mission, we have to hunt down each of these punished souls around the map. That's what the little yellow crosshair marker is. Two. One more. Woof. You can see my character running almost in slow motion. That's not normal. Can't be zone specific. We aren't even on the floors where there's tons of enemies. Then once we clear it, it's all back to normal. This is how fast we should be moving. Weird. I hope that's not a systemic problem. Okay, so on the floor of the Thorns of Fixation. These don't give us anything, but in order to unlock the final form of the final boss, we have to break these every time they show up. We're essentially sacrificing 1 upgrade to do this in order to get the final fight. couple more, hit boss 1. Is Yue Ying. Need to transcend her. She gets another emblem, and then just ice when you transcend her, which is something that happens to some of the cast when you get that additional upgrade. They gain more emblems so that they can boost your abilities better. Boost up fire damage. And same thing for wind. I'm gonna take my own advice and go to the speed floor, get invulnerable evade. We want that ability before we go into the first boss for sure. Okay, that works. Speed and ice up to 3. Okay, first boss. Alright, once we break the shield one time, the boss's barrier changes. It's something unique to tier 6. It turns purple and basically becomes resistant to summon attack damage. That's one additional tier of difficulty that makes this mode a bit harder. In addition to damage and health pools being higher, you can see I'm not melting this boss as quickly. We're gonna have to do it in 2. Oh, whoops. Forgot to throw his Muso. We haven't even seen his Super Muso yet. Every time the boss turns yellow briefly after an attack, if we hit a charge attack and get that burst, the yellow light, that gives us a bunch of assemble gauge. Ow! Ooh. It's real damage. Like that. Might be enough? Yep. Alright. Definitely harder. Okay. Try number 1. Book. Nope. No book. Ah, well, none of these are super great. I guess we take the tea kettle. It's gonna be funny if I just don't get that at all for any of the runs I do this stream. That's insanely bad luck. And I could just restart, but I want to continue through the run because I think even without his treasure, you can still clear the run fairly easily, this character. Oh, come on, frame rate. Oof. DD says 0-1 doesn't look good. Ah, we got 2 more chances. Not worried yet. Okay, ideally we want a formation that boosts ice. Wow. No damage boosts at all. That sucks. Okay, feel like our DPS is still doing alright. Nope. There's the second thorn. Fire. It's 2 of 3 down. 1 more in the 3rd zone. Can you get ads again? Just had the thing pop up. Alright, we'll take KG. Gets up to 3 wind. Oh, I need to keep an eye on my life. I'm under 50%. One thing that's definitely a risk on Traversal level 6, because things hit so much harder, I can't just sort of tank my way through a lot of the enemy attacks, like all the purple. I need to be careful because they will end me very quickly if I get hit too much. It's one reason why usually I'll go into T6 with a character that's got a lot more cumulative levels for the stat boosts. But we kind of just YOLO'd it here. We'll see how well we do. Okay, we should have that. Consecutive hits recover health. That'll help a bit. Okay, that's pretty fast. Now we're on boss 2, the Dirty Bird. Get by that. Dumb. Okay, damage is doing a decent amount. Maybe about 50% to do it in 2. Oh, I forgot to throw his Muso again. I'm so used to one barring these bosses. Kind of want to see what his Super Muso looks like. Ah, oh, bad dodge. Oh, come on, really? I'm gonna die. Well, I was really hoping I'd have Assemble up. Okay, be a little bit careful because if something touches me, I'm done. Oh, that's right. He has a revive. Forgot about that because it's never procced. He can revive twice per run. He hits 0 HP, which is kind of good. Panic button. Hopefully we don't use any more of those. I think it's 2 total. Okay, this should finish the bird off. Got it. Alright, are we going to get lucky on our second chance? Book. No book. Why? Okay, I guess Matsukaze is our best bet there. Ugh. One more chance, assuming we make it all the way down there. Gotta go for the Hail Mary. Having regen on high hit counts is going to probably save us here. And I think we don't get any life when we level up. I know that for sure. But I think health drops are a little less frequent too. There's one. Where you at, Nico Warrior? There you are. Ooh, free charm emblem. Could try and see if we get a good formation here. Bit of a gamble. Okay. 3% for every ice. Not bad. I think we're still too early to get the 5 or 7% ones. We're about halfway through zone 4. DPS looks like it's doing okay, but you can probably see compared to the T5 run I did before, it's taking longer for me to clear these floors. The enemies are definitely stronger. Okay, here's the third thorn. I think it's only 3. I haven't done T6 in a while. I guess we're gonna find out. Assemble. I'm gonna see what a Super Muso looks like. Okay, so area effect attack, then a couple forward strikes, then the Spirit Bomb, which is the same ender that everybody has, but that seems pretty decent. Okay, third thorn down. Pretty sure that's the final one. damage. In the red. Okay, we have to be a little bit cautious now. Should have one more free revive, but I don't really want to burn it here. I'd rather save it till we get to the end or the final boss. Could be that even though Zuo Ci's pretty busted, I might need to come back with some higher cumulative levels and see if I can draw his treasure at the end of the first floor. Yeah, don't want to try and be overly aggressive. But also, if we throw Muso, because of that ability we have to recover health, that'll get us some life back. Yeah, stakes are a bit higher than T6 compared to T5. Nope, didn't have Muso. Thought I did. Almost. Oh, come on, frame rate. Gonna throw a symbol. We hit our target before the bar depletes, then it'll just stop. We can carry over whatever we've got left. A little bit left. Ooh, 8 gates gold lock. That's pretty good formation, but look at it. That's the one that boosts Muso damage, I believe. Yeah, 20%. But when we have that one active, it creates a barrier that'll block some damage, but on this difficulty, it's not invulnerability because the attacks pierce. So normally that would be pretty good, but I think I'll stick with the damage. It's a little more risky. Hey, Lian Shi. I haven't seen her yet. Okay, one more. And then boss 3. Boss 3 is going to be a slog. we're almost to 14 on ice. That's good. Adds it back again. I think it's every 40 minutes. We've been at this a while. Okay, one more skill, and we get element on all attacks. One more ice, we get protective star. I think my elemental emblems are a little bit lower. I think my draws haven't been as good this run. But now, this is going to be tough. Ads done? Alright. Welcome back from the ads. See how much actual HP damage we can do. That is a little bit concerning, about 25%. Oh. Forgot to throw my Muso again. That is the nuke. We will be pretty much near death if we get hit by that. Ooh, okay, 14, that's good. I didn't manage to avoid that. Got lucky. Okay, throw Muso before it empties completely. That doesn't burn through the purple shield that fast. Free damage, which is good. I was hoping to take it down under 50%. Just shy of having enough assemble. They're gonna have to do the shield again. It's annoying. Other enemies on the map just being nuisances. Ooh, I thought that's what it was doing. It's close. I'll do it. Okay. Boss 3 down. That was not as bad as I thought. Still tough. Now, this is my third and final chance to get the book. Will fortune smile upon me? Oh, wow. Apparently so. Book of Art of Concealment. Finally. So when we get this one, it gives us 3 of a random type. Flame, Ice, Bolt, Wind, or Slay, which are the attributes we need. Anyone will be good, and then 100% chance of acquiring Karma Embers after every 50 enemies defeated. Hallelujah. And just like that, our emblem count has jumped up considerably. We hit 14 for Bolt and Slay. We have 18 on Ice and 9 on Fire and Wind. Okay. Doesn't mean it's in the bag, but that ups our chances considerably. Still have to be careful, because damage is real, but our offensive power should be way up now because of that. Ooh, I have to take out same boss. But it should not have the purple shields because it's just the level version to find out. Okay, that's good damage. Okay, now we're getting essentially almost 2 emblems per drop now. Strategy will be get everything to 18 and then dump the rest into ice. If you look at our stats, currently our attack's up to 3183, which is pretty good. We topped out the last one at 57, so that's kind of our target. Probably be targeting more densely packed clusters of enemies. Up that kill count faster. Still getting noticeable slowdown at this point. I don't think I can do anything about it on the stream today. Okay, this gets us to Bolt 18, and then Slay's next. It's lots of elemental balls. Okay, we'll take fire. Okay, about halfway through floor 4. Guess we'll take wind. I want that last bit of slay, hit 18 too. Let that shield go. Most of that damage is being done by the orbs. That's pretty nutty. Free Embers is decent, but I would have rather had a character to recruit. Come here, suck him. Right, fire up to 12. Punish Soul, it's not an illusion. I think it's the first time I've gotten this special mission. Basically, we have to hunt them down on the map, take them all out. Only one of them is real. Come here. Oh, strike 2. Slow him down. There we go. Okay, this gets to slay 18. That's good. More balls. That leaves wind and fire. Get out of here. one more floor after this. And then it's two bosses. And then Goma. Oh boy, it's slow motion. Okay, now we can start re-rolling for other elements. Okay, 14 on fire. So that gets us the first protective star. You can see the little red one spinning around. You get that one to 18. If we could get skill to 18, that's another boost to attribute parameters. It wouldn't be bad. I think that would up our damage a decent amount. You again. Still. Good night. Oh, that's nice. Now we got to 14 with wind too. Alright, so we've got all the elements with at least one protective star. That's pretty good. Alright, so now we're going into the bosses of Zone 4, the two warriors. We have to be especially careful here. Like 1 or 2 shots will end me. That is a command grab. I'm surprised that hit. Bad timing. Okay, it's gonna get us about 50, under 50%. I do not want to get hit by the beam of death. Yeah, that. I'll get by that. Just enough. All right. Number 2. Oh, come on. Pretty good damage. Nope, don't want to deal with that. Saw it coming too. Okay, so this is closer to 18. Kind of an emergency throw there. Oh, just enough. All right. All right, almost died. No problem. Going into the final fight. Man, if I can get enough flame to hit 18 on that one, that'd be nice. Oh, all right. That works. First, let's get this one. Black Tortoise, 7% for every ice. And we'll get Sun Chuan. That gets us up to 18 on fire. And we'll just heal. Heal and get Musou. Okay. Throw on that formation. We're up to 10.7 in total power. Overall attack's lower though. I think it's because we don't have as many points in vigor. 4, 6, 6, 3, but our overall elemental tally's higher. Alright, final boss. Let's do it. First form Goma is the same. More damage and health, but the attack patterns are more or less the same. So we just need to be careful, not get caught by the big attacks like that. Oh, we have infinite summon on slot 1? Yeah, we do. I didn't even notice that. So that's probably 1, 3, and 5. Yeah, we can summon spam a little bit here. Oh boy, it's a lot of damage. Okay, break the shield one more time. We might be able to summon enough to get through Form 1. I need to be really careful with my life, though. So I almost get clipped by the cone. Got it. All right. Should be true final form Goma now. Oh, he's red. Okay. This is the first time we've done this on stream today. So true form Goma's attack pattern is a little bit different. Oh man, slow down. This is a really bad time for slowdown. But its attacks are a bit more projectile based than the regular second form. So doing things like that. Like a bullet hell field. Ow. The damage is real. We have one more revive, but I really don't want to use it unless I absolutely have to. Okay, that's lightning field. Oh, okay, that was my last revive. That's the, yep, it's a spinning one. Having the game slow down here is really bad. This is going to get me killed if I'm not careful. I think we've done Ruinous Goma on stream. This was a while back. And I know we didn't have any issues with slowdown then. That's really annoying. It's not supposed to be moving so slow like this. That's definitely a performance problem. Oh, that's right, there's a ring. Ooh. Okay, we need to stack on the damage. Can we get him to under 50? Yes. Okay. Actual HP based damage is good. It's just getting through the shields. What we'll do is we'll get all the way down to the end, throw Musou. This will chip the shield down a little. Not nearly enough. A little more than 50? Like, about 50. That's good. Okay, I think we just need to be careful. Yeah, it pretty much turns into a bullet hell. Again, it's not supposed to be running this slow. Normally this is fairly quick. So you have to really be careful about your positioning and whatnot with all the projectiles on screen. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm going to have to look into it. But yeah, we're going to have to be careful just because we're on our last revive. Cage? Yeah. Oop. Rings. There's 3 of them. It comes up right at my feet. Oh, come on. I dodged a little bit too early and was right inside the radius of the donut. Ah. And all right, let's look at our wrap up here. 39. Attack is low. I think if I put more into vigor to get that up closer to 6K would have been much better. But we hit our level 18 on all of the elements except wind, though. That's a pretty big fumble at the end. Man, I got to figure out what's going on with the performance. That made that twice as hard as it needed to be. That and burning a revive earlier on. Not great. We did get currency for that, but the whole point was to get a clear with Zuo Ci and get data taken in the other modes, because I wanted to show off the other modes. Okay, we will have to do that next time. Get some more cumulative levels on this guy. I think he's going to be my farmer for a while, even without the treasure. pretty insanely strong. So one thing I didn't mention on the cast screen here, you see the trophy in the upper left corner for the different cast members? There's a number. That means I've cleared that traversal level with that character. So 5 means I've gone up to tier 5. The tier 6 clears I've only done with a couple of them. Where are you? My favorites. It's just one. It's just with Hayabusa. The gold one like that is the tier 6 clear. If you do the hidden one, it's a different icon. So I guess I've only cleared tier 6 with him before, and I can't remember if we did it on stream. But man, that's annoying. I kind of want to go back in there and do it again, but it is starting to get late. I've got to go take care of some other things first. But yeah, we pretty much did nothing but Zuo Ci runs this stream, and this guy's very strong. I think I'll be able to clear tier 6 with him relatively easily, as long as I don't screw up. But we will go ahead and call that here. I guess I'm gonna have to upload 2 halves of the 2 parts of the stream since we had to restart. Well, let me see who is online that we can raid. Oh, I see Spectral Noct is online. They are doing Path of the Titans, which I don't recognize. But this is one of my VTuber peers. They're primarily an artist, but we can head over there. Let me cue this up. We'll mute you and go to outro. And we'll call that a session for today. Thanks for bearing with the weird performance issues. I'll see if I can get that ironed out for the next time I stream Abyss. But in the meantime, thanks to everybody who came and hung out. We will be back Sunday in the afternoon to start up a new playthrough, a new long play for the channel. So, in the meantime, hope everyone has a good rest of your morning, day, or evening. And now we can head over and see how Noct's doing in Path of the Titans. Have a good one, everybody.